coffee. Saturday morning, welcome to it. Appreciate everybody tuning in and always being here. We do appreciate that. Got some stuff here to talk about, and of course, obviously, your comments to be read. As we always say that too with the comment reading, we get to it. If your comment's not read either, well, you didn't comment, and there's some of you that didn't. Or it just after the production of the show, or for some reason the moderators pulled the comment, which can happen. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and read through the comments here. First of all, I'd like to, we're going to start this one out with the Crazy Scotsman. If you have not saw any of his update videos or anything like that, this is what's going on with him. He's been having the back issues, and the pain has been, radiating from lower back to the hips to the leg, which I myself can relate because I actually experienced, I still don't even know what had happened to me, but all I know is last winter is when it started, and it literally carried on all the way into the summer of this year. And with really, I had no idea what was going on. It really is just frustrating because it puts such a killer on everything that you do in life. And so when he was talking about all the stuff he was going through, I totally could relate that, I could feel his pain through the video and understanding, because I was there too, going to chiropractors and everything. And it took a lot of different things for me to try to get on the road to recovery. And to Scotsman, I will say, don't be discouraged about the duration that it takes. It is going to take time. Just bear with it, brother, and keep going through the treatments and physical therapy. And that's the one thing I can say that really helped me was chiropractor, set therapy, going to the gym, working out, and mainly not trying to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but mainly just trying to strengthen the muscles and tone them and try to get back in alignment and strength and, core strength and having to be there, because that's what really helped me in doing all that kind of stuff. So with all that put together, and it was not I wish I could say it was like it only took like a couple of weeks or a couple of months. It was like a long duration of all this stuff. So anyway, that's the update on him. I hope we all wish him well. We keep him in our prayers and everything. So we hope he has a nice speedy road to that recovery. But bear with it, man, and don't give up and don't get discouraged. I know how it can be, and please just keep focused and don't keep your head up. All right, here we go. We have one here from Joe P. Joe has been a long-time subscriber, as many of you have. Swig of coffee for Joe. Good morning, JW. I'm commenting late again, but I was on vacation and staying off the socials. Awesome DVD collection. I saw a used copy in a used bookstore last year, but I didn't jump next time. Joe, if you don't scoop those things up, they're never there the next time. I've learned that many times the hard way. But buying all sorts of things, they're never there when you go back. Jeffrey Richardson, agree, that is the best set. Yes, and if you don't know what we're talking about, go and check last week's show out. All right. Sean, I have to say you make me a bit envious of that box set. I only have the individual DVDs. In a couple weeks, I get to start watching them all, as well as A Nightmare on Elm Street and so on. Have a good weekend to y'all, everybody out there. So it is cool. I'm really when it comes to box sets and things, it's really, to me, what I really like is a lot of these companies have now been doing the going back and putting the artwork of the VHS days back onto the DVD covers, either on the reverse side or whatnot, so you have that option. A lot of times when you see them for sale or advertised, they have the new artwork that they are doing, that they're putting their twist on it. But it is really cool that they're doing the on the reverse side, they're actually adding in the old school artwork that a lot of us from the VHS days will remember. I saw it on a lot of other things. One of the newer ones that I saw that I really liked that they did that too is the My Bloody Valentine movie that was out in the 80s. That was really cool. I'm actually kind of curious to see to pick up the new Blu-ray edition of that, because I want to see what they did to the edited footage that was originally removed, and then they resourced it, put it back in. But the problem when you're watching at least the copy I have, when you watch it and you see the uncut footage being put back into it, there's an obvious like a real color difference and all that going in there. I don't know why they couldn't have fixed that, because to me it goes to that same thing about, like, if you can colorize a black and white video or tape or whatever and then bring it back in, in color, like House on a Haunted Hill or the original Night of the Living Dead. I've seen them do that. If you can do that, then why couldn't you correct the color to make the same it look flawless, at least through the rest of the footage of the movie? I don't see why you can't do that. It's the same kind of thing where, if you notice, the ending of Taxi Driver, by the way, one of my favorite movies of all time. The ending of Taxi Driver, when the character Travis Bickle goes into the house, the hotel, whatever they're doing that thing, and he starts to blow away everybody. Basically wipe up the floor with everybody. The ultimate ending. To what I read was, in order to get because during the 70s, the movie came out in 1977 or 76, they couldn't, that ending was so violent that they were like, oh, this is insane, you can't do this. So they wanted it cut down and edited, and you can't do this, can't say that, can't show this, can't show that. So in the midst of all that, what ended up happening was they desaturated the color. They took away the color out of the whole scene. So when you're watching it and you're looking at it and it looks like everything has this like yellow overtone to it, and that's because they did that on purpose. That's to kind of eliminate the showing it in a glorious color. So one of the producers or whoever in the documentary on it, he says that he wishes they could have gone back and restored that, or to show it the way it really was when they filmed it. Which again, that leads me to saying, well, why couldn't, with today's technology, you couldn't have done that, enhance the color back to where it should have been? With all of the different anniversary re-releasings of that film that they've done, you would have thought they would have done it. Now, here is my theory on it. That it could have been like, okay, well, that's the way the film was brought out. That's the way it is shown. Why not have two versions of it then? Why not in the settings or whatever with the technology we have now to be able to choose which one you wanted, and you could have actually seen the way as it was intended to be seen without the censorship. So there's that too. There was all this kind of weird stuff. I had no idea that back then that there was so much cut stuff out of a lot of these movies. Of course, when I was watching a lot of these things, like the old horror films that would come on late night on TNT, Joe Bob Briggs' Monster Vision, seeing that, obviously it was cut down for TV, but so when you actually bought the real tapes and stuff out of the markets, wherever you could find them, because if you can imagine this, back then, they weren't as available as you would think. If you got lucky, the video rental store was selling their used copies, or they brought in some copies of random ones, but it wasn't like there was an abundance of them everywhere, at least from what I remember. Later on it started to the dump bins and stuff like that, where they started coming around and everything, but it was a difficult road. It was somewhat hard to find some of this stuff. So alright, here's the last comment here from the Crazy Scotsman. Sorry to hear about the camera issues. I understand those. I use a regular Canon photography camera, which works well and wasn't expensive. Otherwise, I just use my phone. Which I actually was thinking about doing that last week when we were having the what we were going to do about the camera issue and try to figure out how we're going to do this. Thanks to your comment there, actually, Crazy Scotsman. I appreciate that. I was wondering about the Canon photography cameras. I've never used one in a sense of using it for videoing. So I guess because I'm so old school, I used, always, relied on camcorders. But I was thinking about that, and that is cheaper to invest in rather than buying one of those giant ones that are $1,500 or $1,000 or whatnot. So to kind of maybe look into that. So I will be looking into that. So this type of format that we're looking at, which is not the greatest quality, I understand, but it's what we have for now. We'll be upgrading that as soon as we do that, but I'm going to definitely tinker around with that idea. So I do appreciate your input on that, on the camera, like the Canon photography camera. As far as what is going on, he's talking about the therapist and stuff that he's been seeing. So again, go and check out his update video on that. He explains that better in there. So you got a couple responses there from Lion Quest Fitness. It's Greg over there. Great guy, great channel. Lion Quest Fitness is killing it with a lot of really good topics and stuff like that. His view counts are to the roof. So way to go, man. Keep trucking along and keep making those videos. Just awesome. I don't get around to watch everybody's content much anymore. I do apologize for that, but just really good to see a lot of us that were here, especially for me back in the beginning when I started, are still out there, still pumping the videos and making productions. So keep going, man. He says, hey Scotsman, aka Old Henry, you are on our prayer list at church. And Crazy Scotsman did respond back to you, morning, brother. I appreciate that, and everyone so very much. Yes, we do appreciate everything you've done. And I know that Scotsman has always been the very instrumental in our community, our small community here, very instrumental in bringing help and attention to those that are either sick or whatnot that need help and assistance. And so now it's time that he needs some, and I know he's not really happy about that, but we are here to band together to bring prayers, thoughts, and everything that we can to help him and assist him in getting better on the road to recovery. And very much so. He's a near dear friend of mine. So we met a lot of really good people on the platform here, and that's the ultimate reward in the end. We met a lot of really good people, and so we want to continue that. So, all right. So a little bit of a topic to talk about this week's show. I actually got it was a comment that I read earlier during the week. I just kind of stumbled across it as I was kind of looking at some of the stuff that we're talking about here. And this comment was about a video I did some time ago, few years, actually, well, longer than that. It's just time flies so much. But it was about the grips that I had, the stocks that I had received from vintagegrips.com many moons ago, that was supposedly a reproduction of the Colt wood style stocks for the 1911. Those original ones had like a kind of a marbled brown orange color. Like a good buddy of mine in Tennessee said, Tia told me, he said it's almost like they were mixing stuff like that up in buckets and just kind of pouring out like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these things. And which is very true. It does look like that. It looks like they were doing stuff like that. So anyhow, when I ordered mine from Vintage Grips, I chose to get the orange colored ones because that's what I wanted to get. So when I got them, what it ultimately was just, it was like literally this kind of like an opaque orange, brownish orange color, all solid through, no marbling at all, no different color contrasts or anything like that. You would have thought that Vintage Grips could have added something else in there to kind of break it up, but they didn't. And they're not cheap. They're not cheap at all, because I think they're like, normally it's like, what is it? 50, 40 something bucks just for the standard one, and if you want that color option, it's an additional like 30 something dollars. So you know, go figure, you're gonna be into this about 70, 80 bucks. And that seems to be kind of like around where a lot of these type of companies are with their grips and things, their stocks, which is not a bad price. I've paid it myself, you know, everybody knows that. I poured a lot of money into that kind of stuff. But I was ultimately never happy with it, because I always wondered, like, what, you know, why couldn't they've done the different marbling or whatnot, and they didn't. So but I showed them in the video so people could see what they're getting. And you know, this guy, this comment came in and said, you know, I'm glad you actually showed that. I don't think I'm going to pay that extra for that color, which is fine. I totally get that. You know, that's definitely makes a lot of sense. So as everybody knows, the ones that we're talking about look like this, or supposed to look like that, where you see the different type of marbling or whatnot. You can see it here on one of mine. There you can see, and that ended up me being because I started making them myself. I started figuring out that, okay, I started making the John Wayne yellow style stocks in the early days, and then trying to add my own flavors to it, and then thinking, well, if I can apply the same concept to something like this, you know, so this kind of leads me to, I wish there was more availability of people out there that could take to do it on a much larger and more scale of things out there, so they can offer these things a little bit more. There's different style stocks that I wish that were available, and not so much the color, but I want to show you some different styles of stocks. These are ones that have the flat base on the bottom, that are fully checkered, and they have the flat base on the bottom. They don't have any of the diamond cuts in it, which I'm not a fan of. But these are the full ones with the bottoms on the flat, which have a really unique look. I really like the way it looks, and those were very difficult to find when they're fully done like that, with nothing, you know, with no you know, diamond cuts on them and everything, so they're fully checkered. You know, I have a set for my Mark II Ruger 22 that I actually had them custom made by a guy, LS something, and I said, hey, can you make them fully checkered, no border and no diamonds on it? And he says, yeah, I can do that. So I paid a little bit more for that, but that's exactly what I wanted, so that's how I got it. The other thing was the Starburst grips here with the aged yellow that I wanted, so I did that for myself, trying to do it. And you know, there's other styles out there. This is, I guess, the ones with the big diamonds on it. Here I am going knocking diamonds, and now here's the ones with all the diamonds. But I got hooked on something like that because when I saw them in the old school days and old school films and stuff. But there's that style, and then you could, or of course, you know, I did different types of ones like it. But and then the ones like you would have saw on the original ones from the 40s and stuff, where they were just using the plastic ones that were coming out for that era instead of using the wood. And then so these are just replicas of that. Of course, you know, just adding a little bit of more of a reddish color to them to kind of create a little bit more of what was originally on there and what was available. Last but not least, we're going to talk about, you know, here's another person out there, a great artist, far better than anything I could ever do or be, would be Deer Hollow Grips. Deer Hollow, Olaf over there, and his Python grips reproduction ones are just phenomenal. These are out there that he's on his website. He sells out extremely fast, as we've talked about. They're worth every penny. Those of you that are wondering about the cost, they are not cheap. But then again, when you get them in your hands, you will realize that this is not a $100 set of grips. They're just not. They're much more than that. In a way, they are better made. They are much better than the old school originals. So you're kind of, if you're thinking about, well, I'm just going to outsource and go and find an original set, actually I'd much rather have his, because not only are they done exactly the way they should be done, they are much better. The quality of the pieces you're getting is much, much better than anything you're going to purchase, and cheaper anyway. So then what you're going to pay, because you could probably get an original set for a couple $100, but then they're going to be beat up, they're going to be scarred up. What you're getting, these are factory fresh, right off the assembly line, you know, even in a way, but in his case, out of his hand, because he's basically a one-man operation. He makes them in small batches, and it is what it is. It's what you get when you can get them. So a lot of people, you know, they're basically watching his, you know, his website like a hawk, and you got to get in there and put your notification bing in there and get notified when he has them available. So that's the way. But those are, but I'm glad that somebody like him is doing this, because with the new ones out, it gives us a chance to put that final touch, if that's something you really care about. Like myself, that mattered to me. Having the proper and the right stocks on there was really important, so that's why I grabbed them. And you know, they're definitely not dissatisfied. He just makes a phenomenal set. I haven't actually got any recently from him because of finances, like everybody else, I'm sure. But I have been watching stuff. There's a couple other ones I'd like to pick up, but you know, obviously time, money is a factor in that. As you know, all of us working stiffs, us 9-to-5ers, you know, that's just how it goes, you know. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's show and everything, and go out and have a good weekend. Be safe, and to the sunny slopes